Hello. Please come in and join us and take a seat. We're about to get started. Awesome. My name's Scott Engelman. I'm a product marketer for Messenger. I'm going to introduce this session, which is focused on what's next for instant games. We're excited. You guys are excited about this topic. And I'm going to introduce the, yay, we'll take claps. Bring it, afternoon claps. Thank you, guys. Awesome. So I'm introducing the speakers for this session. So Ray Guang from our engineering team and Leo Olive from our partnerships teams are going to take you through the content. So please help me welcome them.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Pretty good? Yay, it's F8. It's exciting times. See some amazing things. We're going to be talking about some amazing things today as well. Just to get a sense, are there any game developers in the audience? Yeah, all right, okay. We're going to go OG gaming then for quite some time. Other people, mobile app developers in the audience as well? Yeah, we give them a big round of applause. We love it. You know, we're very excited to be talking about what's next for instant games. And we're going to walk through a big, long presentation. There'll be lots of information, you know, but the way we start these things is always with the mission of Facebook and then grabbing the clicker because you can't start your own presentation unless you have it. That was kind of funny. I didn't do that on purpose, but it was like a little bit funny. So, you know, the mission of Facebook is to, thank you, somebody's chuckling, I like it, to give people the power to share, thank you, and make the world more open and connected. And in the context of gaming, what we like to think about is that the mission of Facebook is to build the world's global community where people can play, watch, and share games. So when people are engaging with people all across Facebook, I think we announced today more than 800 million people are playing a connected Facebook game every single month. We try to give them experiences that are on the desktop, right, with our Game Room, and there's going to be a presentation a little bit later today about a desktop platform called Game Room. You know, whether they're playing on the web, so you know, Facebook.com. We started off with social gaming. People can play games on Facebook.com. And then we also do a lot of work with our platform. So this is providing Facebook login, Facebook sharing, Friend Finder, a number of different platform services that allow you to have great experiences on the consoles. So for example, we work with PlayStation, we work with Xbox, we work with Nintendo. You have the ability to connect your Facebook account, log in with Facebook, find your friends, engage in amazing gameplay experiences. And then it comes to instant games. So I think y'all are pretty familiar with instant games? Yes? Does anybody know what it is? I'll talk about what it is briefly, but it's really, really fun. It's our, let's call it, fourth place where people can play, right, which is on mobile devices. So Instant Games is a platform where you can play HTML5 games quickly in Messenger and then also in Newsfeed. So you're going to be able to get in there, find the fun, and have a really good time. And the reason why that's important is we're trying to solve this problem. Back here, we've got, on your left, Rico, as I like to call him, and then here's Janet. And you know, they want to get in, they want to play some games. We've done a good job in the games industry over, let's call it, the last 20 years of trying to refine the discovery and download process as much as we can. But today, they still, let's say they want to get in there and play together, they have to search. They have to download, they have to enter their passwords, then they have to open the stuff, and then maybe by that time they're getting into the gameplay. And we've probably forgot a couple of steps here and there, but this is the problem that we're trying to solve with instant games, which is how do you just get in, find your friends, start a conversation, just have fun, get directly into the fun. Why don't we take a look at what instant games is? Oh, before we do that, sorry. We're going to take a look in 1 second. The reason why this is also important is because, you know, there are a lot of people out there. I think this slide probably doesn't even need to be talked about too much, but there are 1.2 billion people a month on Messenger and 1.8 billion people a month on Facebook. And those are massive audiences with a lot of gamers there. So there are a lot of people that you want to engage with on the platform. Let's watch the video.
There's something new in Messenger. Introducing Instant Games.
This guy versus is now in Pac-Man.
You little.
Jeez, man.
This guy versus his friend from Fred versus helping up roommates in the woods with friends frenzy.
You know how to spell loser? You know how to spell jerk face?
Well, technically, that is not even a word.
How do you say burn in French? Burn this. my girlfriend?
Yeah, totally!
With so many games, you can connect and compete against your friends, family, anyone really. Play on players.
So there you have it. Instant games is love. And that's really what we're here to talk about today. Now, it's fantastic. It's a great platform. And the thing that makes it great is not only great for players as well as great for developers is HTML5. So you have the opportunity to develop in HTML5, which gives you reach onto multiple platforms when you're just developing at one time. And from a user perspective, that means that you can get into gameplay extremely quickly and easily. And you're going to see that throughout today as people are engaging on the platform. They can just jump in and get to the fun right away. So let's think about our folks here, Rico and Janet. They started off with this problem like, hey, I want to play a game. This is going to be awesome. Let's play together. But we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many number of things to get in and play. And so today, we really want to make it so they can just click and play. And of course, that leads to many happy, wonderful faces, etc. So why don't we take a look at what the actual process is by which people enter into gameplay inside of conversations in Messenger. This is the next piece.
There's something new in Messenger. Introducing Instant Games. Now you can invite your friends to play games right inside your messages instantly. You can choose from a lot of games, and we're adding more all the time. We'll keep score, so you can see who outranks who. You want a rematch, your score lives right in your messages. And you can play with as many people as you want. And use it to see who's doing the dishes. It's gonna be you, James. We have all types of games. Classics, puzzles, ones that are brand spanking new. We don't just live in Messenger. You can get to one of our instant games from your newsfeed. So play on, players.
All right, so it's great gameplay, it's accessible gameplay, it's fun gameplay, and there's a huge variety of games to play as well. So we launched, I think back in November, and we had about 17 titles on the platform. As of today, I think we have over 45. We're constantly releasing games on a pretty regular cadence because we want people to get in there and have fun and incredible experiences, and more importantly, have those experiences with their friends. And that's what's so important about, the ability to jump in and play. So what I'm going to do now is actually bring up Ray, who's going to tell you about what's new in instant games, walk through a lot of the different technology that's being implemented with, you know what, I'm not going to steal his entire presentation. But no, that's all right. That's cool. We can do it. We can talk about rich gameplay features. I'm not going to announce it. Go ahead, Ray. Let's welcome Ray to the stage.
Thanks, Leo.
You're welcome.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to FA. So my name is Ray. I'm the engineering lead for Messenger Instant Games. So this is actually my first FA, so I'm really excited to be here. So we're going to go over all the contents. And today, I'm going to share with you 3 sets of new features that we've been working on for the instant game platforms. So first, I'm going to tell you the set of new features we built for the instant game platform and how you can use it to build a compelling game experience. And then I'm going to share with you the new surface we have added into the apps to help users discover the games more easily and also help the distributions. Lastly, I'm going to share with you what you could do as a developer to build re-engagement outside the experience and to help reach your communities and your gamers. So before I start, I want to share with you my conversation with Evan. So Evan is a friend of mine where we often go to dinner together, and sometimes we just jump in a quick game. And in this case, it was the Endless Lake. So if you have not played with Endless before, this is actually a very simple endless running game where you run around the maze to collect coins and earn scores. It's a beautiful game with beautiful music, so you should try it. When you finish the game, it will actually show you an end screen that shows the score and your position on the leaderboard, so you know how you compete with your friends. And if you want to choose to, you can actually share a screenshot from the game so you can let your friends know. So when you finish the game, we actually draw a message back into your conversation with the score and also the leaderboard, a preview of the leaderboard, so that Evan actually know how you did. And he can choose to challenge back with me and play more game. So games is actually part of our conversation. And a lot of times, this is how we communicate and how we actually make decisions. So the level of integration you've seen here was made possible with the set of APIs we provided in our SDK. So we started simple by providing a couple of set score API, which is what powers the leaderboard service, and also like send screenshot, which is what actually enables the share flow that you've seen earlier. Over the time, we have added more APIs to help you build social experience on top of a game, such as using the set of player APIs to help get information about players, and use the context API to get information about which group context that the user has placed in. But if we look beyond the score-based game, we know we want to help developers to build more types of game and build more rich experience. So with that, I'm glad to introduce to you the new set of platform APIs we built, which we call it Rich Gameplay. So among all the APIs they added, today I'm just going to highlight a few of the most interesting API that defines this platform. So first, let's talk about how to enable these new APIs. So for the current classic games, developers were required to set score and use the leaderboard service. This worked well for the score-based game. But if you're a developer focused on building levels, achievements, progressions, or even other type of games such as turn-based game or real-time game experience, this may not apply to you. So now with the introduction of the rich gameplay, you can go to our developer portal and switch this platform version. And after you switch it, we took away the leaderboard from the screen and give you screen service back for you to build the new components you need. We also no longer enforced build the games that have the strict start game and end game experience. So now with the screen service back, you can build more interesting components that fits better with your game style and the mechanics. So we have few APIs that can help provide the data and content you need to build the components for your game, such as the Connected Player API, where you will be able to retrieve your list of your Facebook friends and Messenger contacts who have played this game before. So you could use that to build interesting leaderboard, such as in this case, a wiki leaderboard, and with amazing animation that showcase how your position has changed. If you happen to be building a match selection screen, then you could use this API called Switch Context, where upon calling this API, we'll prompt user, and with their confirmation, we'll reinitialize the game with the right group context information. However, if you want to encourage your gamers to play more games and start new sessions with people who hasn't played the game before, then you could use this API called Context Choose API, where upon invoking this API, we'll prompt the native context choose flow, so user could browse for all their friends and decide to send a challenge. Sharing is one of the important parts of the gaming experience. And a lot of times, you want to share their achievements and exciting moments. So with the current classic games, you can only share one screenshot after you finish game. But we know that a lot of times, the most interesting moment is throughout the game and it's inside the game. So we have introduced this sharing API, where you could invoke this at the place you want and however many times you want. So that upon invoking this, we will actually prompt the native share flow, and so you could let user choose where they want to share to. And who doesn't want to share a cute dragon that I just collected? So last, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite API, the customer message. So as you see here on the screenshot, with the current classic games, after you finish game, we'll drop a message back into the conversation with the scores and the preview leaderboard. But this is actually the standard message that applies to all the games. But we know that if you're building different games, this doesn't really capture the uniqueness of your game. So we have looked into how we can provide a new surface for developer to build more exciting messages. So now we have this surface, so we build this called custom message. So now with this surface, you can actually control and customize the message with the image you want, the description for that image, and the call to action text. And you could also specify a payload that goes with it so that when you launch the game, and the user can jump into the game with the right section and right context. So as you see here, the custom message for Jimmy to win 563 points is much more interesting than we had before. So now we've seen some of the APIs we built. I want to give you a preview of one of the games who have been partnered to onboard these new APIs. So Words of Friends is a word games that we are working with. So probably many of you already played this game. But for those who haven't yet, this is a words puzzle game where you take turns to arrange tiles on the board to form words. And this is not the same Words of Friends Frenzy game we currently have on the platform. This is actually a full turn-based game experience that will build on the platform. So while I play my turn here, I could actually wait inside the game, wait for my friend Anne to take her turn. And when she did, it will show up live in the game. And if I don't want to wait for her to take her turn, I could actually choose to switch to a different game, which is actually the batch selection, which is powered by the Connected Player API, and place my word there. So here, I'm actually playing the word willed, which the funny thing is, I just learned this word with the making of this video. So, because of the use of rich gameplay features, we're no longer required to use the leaderboard service and in-game end screen. So now you can make a very interesting game end screen that fits your game. So after you end the game, we go back to the thread, and now we drop the custom message. So I want to point out one interesting thing here is, the image you see here is not the same image every time. It's actually a snapshot of the board for that play. So you could actually go back to your conversation history and look for the words you made and the points you scored. Isn't that cool? So this is the APIs. And now if you may build this fancy game, what's next, right? How do you find it? So I want to go back to the conversation I had with Evan. Evan and I not only play the NLSA games, but we also play with many other games that are available on the platform. And not only I play with Evan, but I also play with many friends, different groups, and different friends I have on the Facebook. But as I play more of the games, it becomes hard for me to find which of the games I had played before and whom I have played this with. So with that in mind, I'm happy to introduce the new surface I built called Games tab. So this is the Games tab, a convenient entry point for all your game information right at home of Messenger. So this new surface actually contains multiple units that adapts based on the games you play. And I want to walk you through the experience as a first-time user. So when you come to here the first time, you see a list of some of the most popular games we have available on the platform. And we hope that one of this is interesting to you and encourage you to play. So Endless Lake is here. And we also gamify the discovery experience a little bit so that after you play your first game, it will unlock the platform with all the games that's available. Yeah. So after I play the game will actually show up here in this section called Recently Played section. This is actually quick access for me to actually be able to find the games I just played. And what is good for me is I can always go back and practice more of Endless Lake so I can score higher points when I play with Evan next time so I can rule out the decision on where we go for dinner. So this next section, I feel like this is the core of our new tab experience. Social is part of the genes. And a lot of times, playing games is actually how I communicate and actually for me to bond and actually connect with my friends. So we have given a lot of thought to this section and designed this new section where we present the games in a social-centric view. So in here, you can see this browse for all the games I played and which conversation the friends I played with. So I can quickly jump to the end of this game or switch to a different game. And I can also pick up a challenge, or in the case of Words of Friends, continue the unfinished game that I played with Netta and Andrea. So the next section is called New Games. Pretty self-explanatory. So we currently are working with a set of partners to bring some of the high-quality games onto this platform. And when those games become available, it will show up in this new section, so you can easily define them and jump to the trend. And for all the rest of the game we have, you could discover them in the More Game section. So go check it out. And this is the Game tab. And we are starting to roll out to US today. Yeah. So give it a try and let us know how you like this new experience. So next, I want to talk about bots. At FA last year, we have introduced the Messenger platform, bot platform. And since then, we have attracted a lot of developers' attention and helped many brands and businesses to have rich and interactive communication with their communities. And as we look into this for our game developers, we also want to leverage this channel to help them build and then reach out to their gamers. So we have to look into how we can bring Messenger platform and the instant game platform more closely together. So with that, I want to introduce the game bots. So how many of you here actually have built the bots? Ooh, nice. So for the bots, as a developer today, you can actually utilize all the functionality we have with the Messenger platform. And there's a couple of examples here. So you could use the buttons, the template, to build interactive conversations, or use a quick reply to help you the guided conversation, or use menus to offer some persistent entry point to some of the functionalities. So if you have not built bots before or want to learn more about it, feel free to check out a video on one of the earlier sessions that we have today. So once you finish building the bots, integrating with the instant game platform is very simple. All you have to do is go to your developer portal and create an association with the bots. And that's it. And afterwards, we're taking care of all the heavy lifting in the backend to help bridge the two platforms. So bridge all the gaming activities and the events, and also do the necessary mapping between the IDs. To make this possible, we have worked on adding 2 new functionalities to help you build your bots. First is the game webhook events. Just like the other webhook events that you can subscribe to receive messages, now you can subscribe and receive callbacks for in-game events, such as when someone has started to play the game or when someone has finished it. So you could choose to actually see if someone has started a game but didn't really finish, and actually remind them to continue their game. Next we have added is called the game's call to action button. So you could actually, for all the button message types, you could specify the gameplay as the action. So this is what enables user to be able to launch the game right from your bot messages. It provides a seamless experience and help the user to jump right into the game for that meaningful moment. So now we've seen the bots APIs. Now let me give you a preview of Everwing, which is actually one of the games we have currently on the platform. So not only they're working on onboarding the new rich gameplay features, they also are working on building the bots to help extend the games beyond their in-game plays. So you probably have already seen many examples in the presentation today with Everwing. But you have not played this game before. This is a vertical shooter game where you collect fairies and dragons to help you fight monsters. And they have actually built a couple very interesting mechanics. The first one I'll talk about is actually Quest. So Quest, this is with game mode, where you browse for the available quest, send your fairies and dragons onto this quest so that they will play automatically and fight monsters and collect dragons and collect treasures for you. It's a great experience, but for the user currently, they actually have to go back to the game and check where their quest is and to collect rewards when the quest complete. What we have seen is many users was actually set up a timer for this, so you could come back the moment the quest is completed, so they waste no time to start the next quest. With the use of the bot message, now Everwing was able to send you a list of all the ongoing quests, and you can just browse them through in your messengers, so that you could look at them and also choose to subscribe to any of the quests. So when the quest complete, we'll just send a message to you and remind you that you can actually claim rewards or even send your fairy to the new quest right in the bot messages. The next game model I want to introduce that Everwing has worked on is the boss raid. This is a very interesting game model where they really leverage the uniqueness of the platform. So boss raid is where people actually play a game in threads together to fight a boss. And depends on which thread you play in, there's different boss and different rewards that you can collect. So people was actually playing this in many different threads. And it was actually hard for them to jump between different threads, start a game, and to see where the progress is. With the use of bot messages, now they can actually send for you the list of ongoing boss raid, so you can actually check the progress right in your messages. You could also choose to be reminded when your energy gets refilled. And this isn't required for you to start a new boss raid. The last game mechanics I want to talk about is actually the power-ups. So social is a big part of the gameplay. And to help you with user to play more social games, Everwing actually built this new mechanics called the power-ups, where they reward top game players with this gift. So you could share your gift to your different threads or your friends, so that when they enter your game from this specific entry point, they will get actually the power-ups for their fairies, so you can fight their monsters more effectively. So this are just a couple examples of the game bots. And we hope that this has helped you spark a couple creative ideas on how you could use this platform. To just recap, I've introduced 3 sets of new features for the instant game platform. First, I talked about rich gameplay, which is a set of new APIs and platform capabilities that enable you to build more types of games. Second, Games tab, a new entry point in the home of Messenger where you could discover all your game-related activities. Third, the game bots, which is a deeper integration between Messenger platform and an instant game platform where you could help you to build re-engagement outside the game. Ultimately, our goal is to provide the tools that you need to empower developers build more type of game and more social gaming. So with that, I'd like to bring Leo back to the stage. Thank you.
It's awesome. That was great. It's pretty amazing stuff, right? Like we have a lot of stuff you have new gameplay features you can play around with. So it's not just score-based mini games anymore. You can have turn-based games, multiplayer games. There's a new way to discover games. We're really building as much as we can to enable developers to be successful on the platform. And we think we've done something pretty incredible. In fact, during the keynote, I don't know if y'all picked up on it, but David Marcus announced that over 1.5 billion games have been played in the last 90 days on the platform. So we're really excited to see what y'all can do with these new features. But instead of taking my word for it in terms of what's so amazing about this platform, I'd like to bring up to the stage Michael Carter, CEO of Blackstorm, and we'll have a little bit of a conversation here about Everwing. Michael. Cool. All right. Thanks. How you doing?
Great. It's good to be here.
Ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, perfect. So why don't we start off and maybe you can tell us a little bit about Everwing.
So if you haven't played Everwing, I think you should go give it a try because it's an experience that I don't think has existed before Messenger came out with this platform. But to be specific, Everwing is, on the one hand, inspired by a lot of the old top-down bullet dodger games of like the 70s or 80s, sort of instant arcade fun. But it's actually set in a fantasy world. So you've got fairies and monsters and dragons and treasures. And so we have the whole RPG theme, right? So it's like, not just like a space shooter, but you're in a magical world. And so we layer on top of that, of course, all of the RPG progression mechanics that make it not just something that's really fun right away, but something that's fun for weeks or months where you can kind of keep playing the game and progressing over a long, long period of time.
Awesome.
And then we additionally took a lot of inspiration from the Pokemon pioneered collection mechanics. So, this idea where you got to collect all these different types of creatures. I mean, we have hundreds of dragons, and you can go through and discover different dragons of different alignments and breeds that have different powers, and you can sort of evolve them over time. And, the idea of sort of searching these out and finding them and putting the right combinations together really drives like a super long-term engagement and kind of goes after all the people, all the folks who need to fill in all the checkboxes in the list. And then on top of all of it, we sort of paid homage to the great MMOs of like the 90s and the 2000s and even today, where you assemble in these like really actually very social groups, a group of your friends, and together you go out and you tackle some obstacle that's much bigger than any one person can do alone. It requires very careful coordination and collaboration so that a few of you together can tackle like a much bigger boss than any one person can do, and we call that the boss raids. And so we wrapped all of that together into an experience that I really think has never sort of existed before. We can go from sort of this conversational setting right into this magical world with your friends together.
That's super cool. And you can challenge each other and try to be successful. I know I personally play a lot of Everwing. Do we have any other Everwing players in the audience we can challenge? Yes, many of you. It's super awesome. It's like you've got, like you said, collection, you have boss raids, you have RPG mechanics. It's a very, very deep and engaging game that I'm the best at. But no, I'm just kidding. But I try to play as much as I can with my friends. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Everwing 2.0? Or would you have a name for it yet, or what do you want to call it?
Everwing Too Fast, Too Furious.
That's good. That's good. Wait, last time you said Everwing 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, we're still deciding actually on the exact name. But
No.
So I mean,
yes.
Everwing is a living, breathing product, right? It's not. I don't think there ever will. Okay, sorry. I mean, don't quote me or videotape me, right? But I don't think there'll ever be an Everwing 2. I think Everwing will continue to evolve. And
Forever.
Forever Wing,
yes.
Right? So sorry. Too much. No, but Everwing is something where we push out updates consistently. I mean, if we wanted to, we could push out 10 updates a day and balance new things and try out new things. And so I think the latest update, though, that we're putting out, as of right now, is actually quite substantial. And we've integrated, sort of all of the new features, from the platform side as well as a bunch of new gameplay. So to talk through that, kind of the pieces of that game that I'm really excited about. So I think the first thing is, as we move from this high score platform to the rich gameplay,
Yeah.
the first thing we did is we sort of reimagined what it means to compete with your friends. And so instead of just having it be this sort of high score competition where there's a leaderboard and it's sort of fixed for a long, long period of time, we turn it into a weekly tournament. And so it's actually where it might be you've got a week left, you've got a day left, an hour left, 10 minutes left, but there's actually some prize. And we can actually cycle those prizes out kind of per group of friends, so you're a larger group, bigger prize perhaps.
Cool.
And we don't even have to offer like coins or gems. I mean, we can offer like a new type of dragon or a new type of monster. But as you get closer to the end of that week, the urgency starts to go up, where you really want to beat your friend. And just because you won last week, as long as your friend or one of your competitors has really been burning the midnight oil to kind of play catch up, now they're ahead this week, and now you just got to kind of grind it out. You got to focus. You got to win. And so, in order to take that experience and reimagine it, we had to bridge it back into the chat, because actually people start playing the game right inside the conversation. I mean, it's actually a very married sort of experience. It's not kind of one or the other. And so it's actually that rich gameplay message that we put right into the chat that sort of shows, your friend has just beaten you, and like here's the prize, and there's 10 minutes left. The moment you see that, the psychology is, oh my goodness, like you're already going through in your brain, like what dragons am I going to equip? How much time do I have? What is the right way to spend money, on power-ups or whatever it is, to jump in there and find a way to beat them? And so, we have, I think, 6 or 7 different types of messages for different parts of that just high score tournament. But the really cool part about that is because we've actually reimagined what the high score tournament looks like using these sort of flexible, rich gameplay messages, we then could go and redesign how we've approached boss raids. To say, okay, boss raids used to be like a little mini game, kind of in the top. It just sort of, the people who knew about it would go play it. And so, and a lot of the hardcore players really loved it, but there was no way to sort of collaborate really. And actually what we looked at is we saw a lot of people doing the boss raids. What they would do is they would go into the chat and constantly talk about it and strategize and talk about how much was left and try to galvanize the troops. Say, everyone, we have to go take this boss out. There's only like a few days left. But now what we did is we said, okay, if we can somehow hook into the fact that people are actually sort of playing the game in the chat by coordinating, if we can actually give them a way to jump back and forth and kind of understand what is the status of the game right there from the chat, then it'll make their lives a lot easier and kind of really encourage and reduce the friction of that style of play. And so we built out a set of different rich gameplay messages where when the boss is down to a certain amount of health, or someone gets sort of a best run or high score against that boss, or the boss is defeated and there's treasure to claim, we can actually go ahead and put that right in the group chat.
Super cool.
Then, beyond those sort of rich gameplay features, we also went after the GameBot side of things, and we said, okay, we've got all these people who are like literally setting on their phone alarm clocks and like timers to try to figure out. They'll send like a bunch of people
my quest is almost done. What am I gonna do?
I mean,
collect.
It's the quest, but and they'll have like 8 timers and or eight alarm clocks, to the point where their phone is literally like out of alarm clock slots, and then they miss their like morning meetings or don't get to school on time. And so we just said, look,
but that's awesome because they're playing games.
I mean, I think it's a
just kidding.
the pursuit of creative escape. I think something I would never shake my head at, but. We've provided that, except I think, by not providing people a way to sort of learn and understand when the quests have actually finished, we made it so they felt they kind of had to constantly check or set alarms. So we said, look, let's just solve that. Let's actually use the game bots to let you know. You can subscribe to say, hey, let me know when this quest is done. And then we also said, wait a second, this is actually interesting, where it's not just like a notification. That was sort of what a lot of the App Store style games do. It's just a notification. Actually, it's much richer than that. I mean, there's a whole UI and a whole interaction system. And so for the folks who might not have, I think the old way people looked at mobile is, let's make the game where you can play it in a minute. And so people would make gameplay that you could do in 1 or 2 minutes, like in line or something. But for the people who have like 10 seconds and they want to check their quest, we can actually allow them to go ahead and manage their quest from that UI right from the game bot, and it actually affects their gameplay, but they don't have to jump into the gameplay itself.
Cool.
And so the sort of last feature that I think was covered that I think was really interesting is we tied the two together in a very special way, where we said, okay, there's going to be these special social power-ups. And so we're going to look at some of our players and the people who are really doing a lot of, putting in a lot of the effort. They've progressed really far. They're kind of leaders in their guilds. They're sort of the Everwing heroes. We're going to award them as heroes with these special power-ups, but it's not just
That's
something
cool.
for themselves. It's
Yeah.
they have to take that and choose. And they actually suddenly have this power to say, okay, which of my groups will I bestow this power upon for a limited time, like 10 minutes. And when they do it, it might be like unlimited energy against a boss or a special dragon or special access to a fairy. I mean, something that they can't normally have. And so if you think about that now, we send a message from the game bot saying, hey, you've got this kind of new power.
Right.
And then the player goes and chooses one of the social contexts with the group chats. It jumps them in there. And then they send back a rich gameplay message that lets everybody else know that they now have this power. And then those compatriots, if they also have their own power-ups to use, they can jump and use them and coordinate. And so when we tied that all together, we got down to this point where now actually you have a way for these guilds and these people playing together to actually have a structure around how they coordinate, how they work together, how they understand what each other are doing. And it really just matches sort of the emerging gameplay that we saw. So altogether, I think Everwing 2.0, as you call it, but Everwing.
Everwing 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, right. Forever Wing, as I like to call it.
Forever Wing. That's much better.
It's something now that encompasses so many new features and so many new styles of gameplay that there's never been anything like it out there before. Like this sort of experience that we've gone after. I mean, we've tried to imagine like what was it like to have an Easter egg hunt like as a kid with your siblings, or what was it like to have like in your dorm room like a Pong tournament, or what's it like to be in the happy hour crew and go and play darts together. How do we put that experience together in a way where you jump from the social context into the game and back and forth? And it's something where that experience couldn't exist without the Messenger platform, but at the same time, Everwing is a unique experience that we bring to the Messenger platform, and together it's a unique experience that no one's ever done before. And for us, that's what's so exciting about these features, is because there's so many challenges.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many technical challenges with HTML5, and by the way, that's not a problem. We love going after these challenges, overcoming them. There's design challenges, but in exploring these challenges and thinking them through, we uncover new and unique product features and styles of gameplay and things that haven't existed.
Very
so
cool.
that's really, I think, what has driven Foreverwing 2.0.
Awesome. What do you think? It's a lot of stuff. I love it. That's great. Thank you so much. No, it's a really amazing platform. So what we should say is thank you so much to all of the developers that are working on the Instant Games platform. Thank you very much to the team that's built this incredible platform. So there's a lot of folks in the audience from the actual games teams themselves, whether it's the games team, the Messenger team. Everybody's working together to build incredible experiences. And thank you, Michael. Thank you, Ray. It's been a good time. I hope you guys learned about what's new in Instant Games. The answer is a lot, and it's really exciting. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.